In the grim darkness of the far future where there is only war, a relentless force emerges from the shadows, clad in black and driven by unyielding faith and wielding the Emperor's wrath. They are the Black Templars. Today, we delve into the heart of the battlefield and uncover the secrets to mastering these relentless warriors. Prepare to witness unparalleled ferocity and tactical brilliance as we guide you through the strategies that will help you win with Black Templars. Let's go! What's going on, guys? My name is Watts and welcome back to the Miniatures Tavern, and today we are taking a strategic and deep dive look at the Black Templars Combat Patrol box. I have developed an advanced language model, and I feed the model all the data, and it comes back with strategic guides with tips and strategies and maneuvers that we can do to make us better players on the tabletop. And today's focus is Black Templars Combat Patrol. So the first thing we need to do is we need to understand the units that come in the box. And if you need a tutorial or a video on the breakdown of this box, I will link the Combat Patrol video at the top corner here. You can go check that out, and then you can come back, and this will probably make a lot more sense to you. Marshal Sigard is the warlord in this box, and he's going to be equipped with a plasma pistol and a master-crafted power weapon. His abilities, he's the leader, so he can be attached to the Intercessor squad or the Primaris Crusader squad. Just my personal opinion, I play this army. This is one of my main armies. I always attach him to the Crusader squad. He brings more bang for your buck and more punch if you attach him to the Crusader squad. But you can also choose Intercessors. That is completely up to you. Their army rule, their faction ability is Oath of Moment, so that's going to allow you to reroll hits on one target that you pick at the top of your command phase. So that is Sigard. The Primaris Crusader squad, you get 10 models. They're equipped with different weapons. You can have a heavy bolt pistol, a power weapon, a Astartes chainsword, bolt rifle, and close combat weapon. I personally like to equip all mine with heavy bolt pistols and chain swords. Just again, you're going to get extra punch there. So that's how I have mine equipped, but feel free to equip yours according to the guide here. Their abilities are Scout 6. Now, you can take this unit and you can split them up into 2 units of 5 before the game starts. 5 are going to... one unit of 5 is going to contain your neophyte models, and the other 5 are going to take and contain your Crusader brethren. Now, the neophytes, they can Scout 6, but if you run them as a 10-man group and you put the Marshal with them, they lose that Scout ability. They also have Righteous Zeal, which means you can reroll advance and charge rolls made for this unit. And down at the bottom, you see they can be split into 2 units, one with the Primaris Initiate models and the other with the remaining models. Intercessor squad, you're going to get 5 models. They're going to be equipped with bolt pistol, bolt rifle, and close combat weapon. Pretty cut and dry. And then you're going to have the Black Templars Impulsor, which is 1 model. This is going to be equipped with a multi-melta. That's one of the bonuses of running Black Templars, is that all our vehicles get multi-meltas. It has a storm bolter, and then it's going to have an armored hull, or as I like to call it, happy feet for your melee weapons. Abilities on the Impulsor, it's got Deadly Demise D3, so when it's destroyed, you're going to roll 1 dice, and then on a 1 and a 2, it's a 1, a 3 and a 4, it's a 2, a 5 and a 6, it's a 3 mortal damage to any units within 6 inches of this unit, and then it's got Firing Deck 6, so you will be able to shoot your weapons outside of the Impulsor as if the Impulsor is equipped with the weapons of the unit you put them in. Faction ability, again, Oath of Moment. This is an assault vehicle. Units can disembark from this transport after it has advanced. Units that do so count as having made a normal move and cannot declare a charge that turn. And it does have transport capacity of 6 Tacticus or Phobos infantry models. So now that we got a quick rundown of everything that's in the box and how to equip them, let's start to peel away this onion and understand each unit's capabilities during games of Combat Patrol. We're going to start off with Marshal Sigard. He is your warlord. He is the leader of the army, and he's going to act as a force multiplier, boosting the offensive and defensive capabilities of his unit while providing strong personal combat abilities. Let's take a look at his capabilities. Leadership. Marshal Sigard can lead either the Intercessor squad or the Primaris Crusader squad, enhancing their combat effectiveness. Offensive power. He's equipped with a plasma pistol and a master crafted power weapon. He can deal significant damage in both ranged and melee combat. And finally, his buffs to allies. He has 2 buffs that you could choose from, one to put on him during the game. The first is Crusader's Fervor. That's going to add 1 to the attack's characteristic of melee weapons in his unit, increasing their damage output. This is the one that I normally always take, really good. Or you could choose Righteous Defiance, and that's going to grant the Feel No Pain 5-up to the bearer, and once per battle, his unit can have a Feel No Pain 4-up for a phase, enhancing their durability. The 1+1 attacks is really good, really good. The Primaris Crusader squad, they're a versatile unit that's capable of adapting to different combat situations, whether they're engaging in ranged firefights or closing in for melee combat. Their capabilities, they have versatile combat roles in this army. The squad includes a mix of weapons, allowing them to handle different combat scenarios. They're really good for that. Their heavy bolt pistols and Astartes chain swords are effective for close combat. Bolt rifles are useful for mid-range engagements. Their pyroblasters, they deal with enemies in cover and groups of weaker foes. And Righteous Zeal allows the squad to reroll advance and charge rolls, making them highly mobile and reliable in reaching combat. If you break them apart, or if you don't attach the Marshal to them, they do have Scout 6, which provides additional movement options at the start of the game. And again, patrol squads, the flexibility to split into 2 units for tactical deployment and engagement. I've split them in 2 units of 5 before and put the Marshal with like the Sword Brother and those guys, and I have run the Initiates separate for the Scout move, and that works. And I've also run them as a 10-man brick, and they're really good as a 10-man brick, but you lose the Scout keyword, so just keep that in mind. The Intercessor squad, these guys are a reliable backbone unit that are going to provide steady firepower and capable of holding ground or advancing as needed. Their capabilities is they really excel at mid-range firepower. They're equipped with bolt rifles that can lay down suppressing fire while advancing or holding positions. They have close combat efficiency, but the close combat weapons allow them to defend themselves effectively in melee. If you're taking the rifle, though, it's punchy fists. So keep that in mind. But these guys are really good at sitting and holding objectives. They're really good at that. Resilience, they have solid durability with their armor and faction abilities. And, of course, your army rule is Oath of Moment, so that really enhances their effectiveness against designated targets by allowing rerolls to hit. Their bolt rifles have AP-1, 1 damage, so that AP comes in handy, and they're really good at just sitting on objectives. I usually load these guys into the vehicle, and I just run them up the field to the first objective marker, pop them out, use the Impulsor as a shield wall, and then just stick these guys on there and camp as long as they possibly can. So, just some tips. And finally, the Black Templars Impulsor. This provides rapid mobility and support, enabling quick repositioning of troops and adding additional firepower to the combat patrol. Capabilities, we've already talked about that. It's a transport. You can quickly move up to 6 Tacticus or Phobos infantry models across the battlefield, enabling rapid development and flanking maneuvers. It's an assault vehicle, so that's going to allow units to disembark even after the vehicle has advanced, providing flexibility in tactics and surprise assaults. It definitely supplies fire support with those multi-meltas, which are effective against heavily armored targets. It's got the storm bolters, which are useful for engaging infantry and lighter targets. And it has a high toughness. It's very durable. High toughness and a solid save make it difficult to destroy. The core abilities, you got Deadly Demise D3. We already talked about that. This causes additional damage when destroyed. Just kind of make sure your units are outside of 6 inches of it. And then that firing deck is just another pip of attack power that you can use because embarked units are able to shoot from the vehicle, providing extra firepower without even disembarking. So, super useful. So let's go ahead and let's jump into strategy. Now, this is where the large language model really comes into play, because in analyzing all these combat patrol boxes and the data sheets and the rules and the weapons and everything, I ask it, can you give us some early game? Can you give us some mid game? And can you give us some late game strategies on how to make players be more effective and more successful during games of combat patrol? So this information going forward is really awesome, and this is like the meat and potatoes of the video. So let's jump in. So early game strategy for playing Black Templars in combat patrol. Your objective in the early game is you want to maximize the early game advantage by leveraging the mobility, the resilience, and the offensive capabilities of the Black Templars combat patrol to really secure key positions and disrupt enemy plans. During your deployment phase, Marshal Sigard, he should be positioned with a Primaris Crusader squad to enhance their combat effectiveness with his abilities. Like I said, the chainswords get 5 attacks, and if you put Sigard in there with his enhancement, they're going to get 6 attacks each. That is a brutal unit right there. If you're running them at 10, that's 60 attacks. So in combat. So you really want these guys to be your go-getters. You want, like I said, the Intercessors to kind of hold your position. You want the Impulsor to lay down some cover fire. And you want this 10-man brick to be your workhorse and go into battle. The Primaris Crusader squad, you want to deploy them centrally or towards an objective to utilize their flexibility in combat roles. Consider splitting them if needed to cover more ground or secure multiple objectives. I would not. Intercessor squad, you want to place them in a position where they can advance to mid-range objectives while providing support fire. You want to throw a 5-man squad into that Impulsor, and you want to boogie on down the road. All right, the other guys, you could put them on the line, and if there's an objective that has some cover or something like that, you can advance and make a beeline to that so that you're in position to hold that for the next phase. Yes, you're going to have to kind of duck and dodge your opponent's shooting phase. But with cover, you're going to get a +1 to your save, and then you're going to, you can go to ground. You have some stratagems that can help you be a little more durable to kind of weather that storm. And then finally, the Impulsor, deploy it strategically to transport units quickly to critical locations on the battlefield. So when you start throwing in the enhancements, when you start throwing in the stratagems, you start throwing in the unit abilities and capabilities, you really start to see that this box really works well together. It synergizes very, very well. Probably one of the best combat patrols working in tandem with its rules, its enhancements, and its abilities that I've seen in my reviews so far of combat patrol boxes. It's just really sweet, and it works really, really nice. So this is your early game strategy. Your mid-game strategy, you want to be focused on board control and firepower management, okay? Mid-game strategy for Black Templars, again, board control and firepower management. Your objective in the mid-game is to focus on consolidating your control over key areas of the battlefield while managing your firepower to maintain pressure on the enemy and protect your assets. Let's talk about board control. Marshal Sigard and the Primaris Crusader squad, you want to use them to start securing objectives. Ensure that they hold critical objectives and use their combat prowess to clear and defend these positions from enemy threats. 60 attacks with chainswords, you're pretty much going to clear anything that's sitting there. You got to roll really, really bad for that not to happen. Your Intercessor squad, you want to hold and advance. You're going to continue to hold mid-board objectives while advancing methodically. Use their resilience and firepower to fend off enemy units trying to reclaim territory. And then in the mid-game, your Impulsor, flexible deployment, you want to use the Impulsor to redeploy units quickly to reinforce weak points or capitalize on enemy vulnerabilities. All right, so, and I'm going to tell you this, your Impulsor is going to have a huge target on it. The first time you shoot your opponent with your Impulsor, it's really going to set up red flags, and they're really going to start paying attention to it, especially if you get off the 2 attacks with that multi-melta. Talking about AP 4, damage D6. You light your opponent up with that, it's going to put a target on it. So just be ready for that. But you can use cover to hide it. You know what I mean? You can use cover to get your units back into it, strategically deploy. You have a lot of freedom and flexibility there, but I just want you to know that you will have a target on that Impulsor the first time you fire it at your opponent. Late game, we're going to focus on eliminating remaining enemy threats and securing critical objectives to ensure victory. Let's go through some elimination tactics. Marshal Sigard and the Primaris Crusader squad. You want targeted assaults in the late game. You want to use their close combat prowess to eliminate high priority enemy units. With their diverse weapon loadout, they are effective against both infantry and heavily armored targets. Your Intercessor squad in the late game, focused firepower. Target any remaining enemy units that could contest or control objectives. Their bolt rifles are effective for thinning out enemy ranks and disrupting their plans. Remember, those bolt rifles, 2 attacks each, hitting on 3s, AP -1, 1 damage. You can pile that up, right? 5 times 2 is 10. That's 10 attacks. If you got to roll really bad not to make an impact. And finally, the Black Templars Impulsor, supportative fire. Use its multi-meltas and storm bolters to take down any remaining enemy vehicles or high-value targets. The multi-melta is particularly effective in the late game, with precision elimination is crucial. So late game, if your Impulsor does survive, you want to start getting that in a position where you can start wiping out maybe warlords and leaders of your opponent's turn. Go for the gusto. All right, so here is strategic play in early, mid, and late. And then let's look at some tactics and some tips to go ahead and finish up. These are some tactics and tips that the large language model came up with for specifically winning in combat patrol with Black Templars. Here's some general tactics. Aggressive play style. The Black Templars excel in close combat. Use their melee prowess to your advantage by aggressively engaging enemy units and pushing forward to control the battlefield. Objective control. Focus on securing and holding objectives early in the game. Use your mobility and resilience to control key points and deny enemy access to critical areas. And finally, utilize enhancements. Make the most of your enhancements like Crusader's Fervor and the Righteous Defiant to boost your unit's combat effectiveness and survivability. Well, there you go, guys. Hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching. This is how you can win with Black Templars. I just started a Patreon. Join me on Patreon. As a member of the Miniatures Tavern, you'll gain exclusive access to AI-powered strategy guides, specifically designed to elevate your gameplay in both Warhammer 40k, Combat Patrol, and we are going to start Age of Sigmar Spearhead when that launches. You get This is just a small version of what you get in the Patreon. In the Patreon, we really deep dive into turn-by-turn basis and how you can use your models turn by turn, strategies that you need to be doing each turn, abilities that you can take advantage of, stratagems that you can take advantage of. We examine weapon profiles and what your ratio and your percent of winning against other factions is going to be. We throw all those charts and everything in there. It really is a deep dive into strategy and strategic play for games of Combat Patrol. But we'll leave that for another time. Thank you so much for watching. Again, my name is Watts, and I will see you in the next video.